Throwaway. So my husband comes from a traditional family. Mom's a Som, father was sole provider. I come from the opposite. My mother pretty much forbade from ever being financially dependent on a man and drilled that into me early on. My husband worked hard to unlearn the values he saw replicated at home. He, often more than, pulled his weight at home, was an engaged and present father and a genuine partner. The one thing that grinds my gears is how much weight he puts on the opinions of his family. I get that we all want our parents to be proud of us, but this is too much. My ILs are staying with us for 2 weeks. Our usual MO is, I prep breakfast, we all eat lunch at work/school, and my husband makes dinner. We have a cleaner, but she's on holidays, so in the meantime we're DIYing the cleaning where it's down to everyone to keep their space clean and common spaces we all clean. This is how we've always done it, and it works. My ILs hate that I'm one of those modern women. They hate that I work, they hate that I don't find my purpose in being a wife and mother, and they hate that my husband pulls his weight at home. We spoke pretty frankly early on, where I established my boundaries and told them I won't be chastised about how I live my life in my home. When I am a guest in their home, I accommodate their ways and play the DIL they wish I was. They have for the most part respected this. I got home yesterday after work tired and starving. I typically get home 18:15/30 and we eat at 1900 hours. I said quick hellos and ran up for a pre-dinner shower. When I came down, I went to the kitchen to help set up for dinner and found nothing ready. I asked my husband about it, but he wouldn't look at me, and his mother answered that he hadn't cooked anything. She told me I needed to do my duty as a wife and cook for my family. My coward of a husband still wasn't looking at me. I just walked away and ordered takeaway. I dished up for me and my kids and we sat at the table to eat. My husband and his parents served themselves and joined us. My MIL was still going on about what was wrong with me and why I was a failure. I asked my husband if he had anything to say. He said his mother had a point and it wouldn't hurt if I acted more like a proper woman and took better care of my home and children. He said tradition was tradition for a reason, and it was kind of insulting that I thought I was too good for how he was raised. This is where I might be the asshole. I told him tradition won't allow a man on $35K to support a family of 5, and he was too broke to be so sexist. He looked hurt and I saw tears welling in his eyes. He excused himself from the table. I regret saying this in front of our children, but him saying that to me after I'm busting my ass to clean up his mess on top of having to deal with his parents was too much for me. AITA. So this is a bit of a weird one. I, 41M, was at a friend's birthday party on the weekend just past. There were 9 of us at the party, including the birthday boy, which is surprisingly relevant. All fake names from here on out. Amy, 30-ish F, one of the guests, baked a cake for the birthday boy. After the relevant party traditions of singing the birthday song and the hip hip hooray that happens after the birthday song here in Australia, I went back to talking to one of my friends when Amy came up to me and the other friend with 2 plates of cake and offered them to my friend and I. We both said yes, thanked her, and then she made a really odd face and walked away. My friend and I both said it was weird and went back to chatting. I ate some of the cake and a desiccated coconut inside it, which I don't particularly like, so after a couple of bites, I ignored it and then chucked it out when the party ended about an hour or so later. About 45 minutes ago, Stephen, 30-ish M, Amy's partner, sent me a series of angry texts. 8 a.m. on a Monday morning is really not the best time to receive angry texts, saying how Amy spent last night crying about how she didn't get to eat any of her cake and that I took a slice of it only to throw it away and deprive her of her own cake, and that she only cut 8 slices since she knows I don't like coconut, but I took her slice and threw it away to spite her. I replied, why did she even offer me any cake if she knew there was coconut inside? Stephen said that she did it to be polite and not leave me out, and that I was an asshole for taking her slice and throwing it away. I forwarded the message to my other friends that were there, and most of them have left me on red so far, except one who responded with a thumbs down emoji and another who hasn't seen it yet, as of this writing. The fact that no one's responding to me is making me worry that I might have been the asshole here. So, here's the deal. Every year since I, 29F, started at this office job, there is one person, F56, that arranges an annual staff Christmas gift, where they ask everyone to contribute $30 total per person towards gifts for the 3 top executives. In the last 2 years that we've done this, the 3 people in management who have been given the gifts have come down to our office and thanked that one person, F56, profusely for her generosity and how sweet she was to do this, etc. Last year, I asked her if she gave something from just her as well and if that was why they thanked only her. She said no, but since she was the one who handed the gift basket to them and wrote the card, there were 3 others in me who built the actual baskets. She just insisted on doing the card. They may be misunderstood. Note that she always does this first thing in the morning and will take the basket from our office and go up by herself regardless if people say they'd like to join her, and just say she forgot they wanted to come with. Well, I checked with one of the assistants because I am petty. The assistant told me that while the card said that it was from the staff, it did say name of the lady and the rest of the staff, and that the same thing had happened the year before. At the time, I did not say anything and just made a note of it for this year. Now, here's where I may have been a bit of an AH. This year, this lady once again sent out an email asking everyone to contribute a minimum of $30 per person for these 3 people. One of the owners retired earlier in the year, but she felt he'd still really appreciate a gift. I answered the email and said, "Dear Name, thank you for reaching out regarding this. I have given a lot of thought to this throughout the year and have decided to organize my own gift this year instead with a smaller amount as it's been a tough year financially for me and many others. Perhaps you can edit last year's card to say, love from her name and the rest of the staff, except for my name? Thank you, and happy holidays." About 5 minutes after I sent the email, she came storming over and told me that I had no right to accuse her of taking credit for the gifts and not including everyone's name. I asked if it was untrue that that's what her card said last year, to which she answered that that's how she's always written the card. Apparently, she's currently scrambling because a lot of other staff members are choosing not to join her gift this year, and her friend, F60, has told me that it was super petty and not very much in the spirit of Christmas of me to ruin the gift to management this year while grumbling about how selfish I and other younger staff members are who don't want to contribute to the gift. So Reddit, am I the asshole in this situation? I, 29F, have 4 siblings, all adults. My dad, 63, and my oldest brother Cole, 35M, live in Asia, while the rest of the family lives in Germany. My grandmother, who also lives in Germany, recently passed away, so we all plan to go to the funeral immediately. I've never been super close to Cole, but recently we started hanging out more, which I enjoyed. While buying the airplane tickets, I made it clear I wanted to sit alone next to the window. My dad loves to sit in the aisle, and my brother Cole prefers a window seat. I haven't traveled with family since I was a teenager, and I like to travel, flights, alone. Cole, however, was furious. He saw it as a family trip and told me the family must sit together. I didn't mind spending some quality time together, however sitting in a limited space does not qualify as a quality time for me, especially a red eye. Fast forward to the arrival at the check-in counter, I asked for a separate window seat. Cole interrupted and told the airport employee that we'd sit together and that he'd take the middle seat. I caved in. On the plane, I put the tip of my elbow on the armrest, and he moved my arm, chuckled, and said, according to the flight etiquette, the middle seat gets both armrests, haha. Now he's not an etiquette guy. I felt slightly annoyed, but whatever. The flight itself wasn't bad, but my flying experience with strangers next to me so far was better. During our stay in Germany, we had a nice time together, had a beautiful funeral, and headed back home. This time I again told him that I'd like to sit alone. My dad didn't care about sitting together. Cole, again, pushed me to sit together. In front of the check-in counter, I stood my ground and asked for a separate seat. My brother and my dad were seated together and got middle and aisle seats. Before boarding, he called me a traitor multiple times. I didn't respond. I had a lovely trip back home. The middle seat wasn't occupied, so I was lucky. When we landed, we took a taxi home. I told Cole that I had a very nice flight. He responded that he had an awful flight because the guy who got the window seat was irritating, loud, and well, simply, big. He gave me a dirty look. I, again, said nothing and just wanted to let things go. Later in the evening, he texted me that I didn't appreciate his sacrifice to sit in the middle, and I value my comfort over personal relationships and the needs of other people. Cole also texted that I rubbed in his face my nice experience while he had the worst flight of his life. Now, I am upset and frustrated because apparently he blames me for this. We both want to repair our relationship, but his neediness to sit with me and putting blame on me is pushing me away. Does a family that travels together must sit together? Maybe I don't see something objectively in this situation. AITA for refusing to sit next to my brother on a plane?